Federal Ministry of Education has commenced investigation still into the alleged unauthorized deduction by universities from funds disbursed under the Nigerian Education Loan Fund (NELFUND) scheme. This is just as the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission also commenced a comprehensive investigation into alleged discrepancies surrounding the disbursement of student loans, as reported that no fewer than 51 tertiary institutions were implicated in illegal deductions and exportations related to the NELFUND scheme. Minister of Education Dr. Latunji Alausa has accordingly summoned the affected vice-chancellors for an urgent meeting on May 6 alongside the Managing Director of NELFUND, Director Press and Public Relations Mrs. Folashade Boriowo, who conveyed this in a statement on Thursday in Abuja. Said the ministry received with deep concern a report alleging that some Nigerian universities to have made unauthorized deductions from funds disbursed under the NELFUND scheme. Meanwhile, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission on Thursday disclosed that it was investigating an open source which revealed that only 28.8 billion out of the 100 billion released by the federal government was disbursed to students, leaving an uncounted sum of 71.2 billion naira. You're you're an economist, right?
Well, you know, we're talking billions now.
Yes, yes, another set of billions.
Billions, 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 billions. So, the fact is, education is the lifeblood of every economy and every country. You can't survive without education. Education is not just going to school to learn how to read and write. That's just a first step. That's just a first step. There are many steps to take. We're talking about a situation where money was allocated to students, and then there's about over 70 billion unaccounted for. So when we talk about investigation, investigation is not just about identifying a problem. And after identifying the problem, you have to sit down and ask, and the next question is, how do we ensure that this problem do not repeat itself again? How do we build a system that we don't continue in a cycle of unaccounted funds, and not just small money, billions of naira? And when we talk about unaccounted, you know, the question is unaccounted, where is the money? Who are those responsible for it? They should give. See, the money belongs to the citizens of the country. They are taxpayers' money. And when you are in public office, it is not your personal money. It is not your private money. You are accountable to the people. Accountability is part of leadership. And if you are not accountable, you're not a leader. Because every leader, whether you're a leader in an organization, or you're a leader in your company, or you're a leader in a religious organization, or you're a leader in government and public office, when you are responsible for public funds and public money, you have a responsibility. You have a moral obligation and a natural obligation and a financial obligation to be accountable to the people you are leading over. When it comes to education, and then we are having amounts of money like this that's not accounted for, I think Nigerians are in demand. They're in need of accountability. Because there are many Nigerian students that can't afford to pay tuition fees. They can't afford to buy books. They can't afford to, transport themselves to school, pay for their transportation fares, and pay for their medical bills and all that. And yet we have billions. So what we need to do to ensure good governance, there should be a reduction of waste and corruption.
Oh, wait, we talked about the NNPCL situation of the SACS MD and MDs that and the EFCC discovered the 80 billion that you literally tried to wrap your head around for about the next 3 minutes. You just kept having that in your statement back and forth. And then this is another one. Well, the ICPC has actually, been on this case since, last week up till now, still on the probing over the this unauthorized fund that was, disbursed. Why do you think this issue of unauthorized misappropriation of fund keep repeating in the system? Education sector, oil sector, health sector, other sectors. What's the reason for the repetition, please?
Anytime you have misappropriation of funds, it has to do with the societal culture and the kind of mentality that has been built in the people over time. Now, what am I trying to say? Now, if you walk on the streets and you do, let's say you carry out an interview or a questionnaire, you administer a questionnaire, or you're trying to carry out an interview, and you ask 10 young people on the streets, if I make you in charge of a public office and your budget is $1 billion, what are you going to do with that money? 70% of them are going to tell you, I'm going to eat the money, I'm going to divert the money, I'm going to steal the money. It's my time to eat the money, or it's my time to steal the money, or, So you discover that there is a mental crisis and there is a societal problem, and corruption have eaten into the very fabric. So even the young people growing up, it's like corruption is an oxygen that they have to breathe. So yeah, now for misappropriation to take place, many people are complicit. Many people are part of that misappropriation. You can't be working in an organization and then funds are always being misappropriated. With technology and good checks and balances, you can actually mitigate and reduce misappropriation. Now, for there to be a misappropriation means there should be an appropriation. It means the funds were budgeted for some projects. Take, for example, you're in charge of an organization, maybe a government organization, and let's say health, for example, and your budget is $1 billion, and you are to spend $1 billion to build primary healthcare centers because of the mortality rate, the death rate, many pregnant women in rural areas that do not have access to modern health care facilities to help them to reduce the mortality rates during childbirth and all that. And now you took that money and when they say misappropriated, it's gone. You have misappropriated. It does not disappear. It is entering somewhere. So when that money has been misappropriated, possibly to the person's account or pocket, like in a case where 80 billion was sitting in someone's account, just chilling there, then what happens to those women in that village who should, and there is their right to have access to modern health? So when there is a misappropriation, there are collaborators to it. But generally speaking, I believe that it has to do with a mental problem, a mental crisis, a cultural problem, the culture of let us just go in and grab it all. That greed that has eaten a lot of people, that they feel that what makes them wealthy is when they steal, the more they steal. But most of those people, they don't have productive mind because they just feel their security. Money can give one a false sense of security to some extent. Because when you look at your account and you see 120 million, you feel you're secured. But as you keep spending the money continues to disappear. You continue to spend it. So that's how misappropriation takes place.